days, this is a one-seater, not two. What you see is not what this God is gonna do. Be honest with yourself before I do. This is a massacre. I'd rather be in my own car as a passenger. You're looking at me while I'm passing ya. Black angel and white cloth, flying in the demon Sabbath. That's why the Jews took that day off. The priesthood of Ra became the Rothschild. Dragon snake, this made the Draco Queen awake. Indians started going to symbiotic state. Speaking in tongues, flying nuns. These became our modern dudes with guns. Walking around with demons, fire breathing. I'm a God's man. When I heard it from the back, she be like, God damn, she like it. Angel never wife it, no matter how much we like it. Chase a woman, keep us divided. Money unite us. Anything I touch turn to gold like King Midas. Invisible forces fight us. Visible government infect us with virus. Europeans is known for playing with license, experimenting on mices. They open churches and claim to be righteous. They exploit us, our weakness, and divide us. But we don't know we have God inside us, and angels fighting outside of us. I fade the black into the panther. Whisper the question and I'll appear with the answer. Same blood as the queen. Master knocked in science like John D. My teacher wanna silence me, so I sleep lucid while others dreams. I walk around and everybody's blind. I'm not a person, I'm more of a sign. I gave up the flesh for blood and wine. I figured out the two eyes. I realized life is a lie. I've been here before many times, but I don't remember dying. The darkness teach me hand signs. It's not my time. My aura's purple. I run around like the Silver Surfer. Me and you's a church. All alone, I'm all the members. They tell me I'm not alone to always remember. Restrained from anger, let the gatekeepers tangle. I'm the Durango of the spiritual jungle. Crime pays. Look at our government as they get away. After they leave office, they change their name. They go to other countries to escape. Some of them live in our state. We're the shepherds and they're the sheep. We don't know them until they take off the white sheep. They burn the Pentagon on your lawn and they're gone. They took an oath and was once sworn, but I'm twice born. On my knees a tracker. It's only the head that I master. A ghost hunter in this life and after. Peace and blessings, everybody. Hopefully everything is working out for y'all. We're about to chop it up for a quick minute. Let me go to get off the YouTube one, because it's kind of like a delay. Go to this thing. Alright. Hopefully everybody can see me. Man, I did this for like from 9 o'clock and thought I was broadcasting and it didn't come out. So I'm here to do it again, just to chop it up for a quick minute to, let y'all know what's going on. Raven, what's going on? Peace and love. It's good to see you. Alright. This thing got a delay, so I don't know how it's coming out, but it's coming out. Anyways, I wanted to talk about what happened to us when we die. It's a real topic. And, learning this new YouTube stuff and all this, because they got the studio part and a whole bunch of other parts. Just bear with me until I get it all together, and then we'll be able to get it popping. So anyways, I wanted to just discuss this and plus see how this work out, because it's like my first time using this. So let me see how it do. If not, I'll just use my phone like I've been using. If not, I could do more and show my screen and share my screen, hopefully. That's what it says, so we'll see. So, just chill for a minute, see what's going on with everybody. I think we could text or whatever, too. But, it's not delay on my end. Cool, that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm glad to hear that, then. Alright, so, on that note, I'm gonna start off. I got a few things I want to show you. Let me start off by showing you this thing, because it's able to do it now. Let me pull it up real quick. Is this it? Nope. 1 second. Alright. Let me see. Nope. Okay, cool. This one. Could y'all see this? Let me see. Alright, cool. Let's make this one now. Alright. Reading from here, it says thoughts, because this is important for us to understand thoughts. I'm going to get into this, what happens. But this is just to give y'all a great concept of how deep everything is, and we don't understand everything that's going on. It says, the thoughts which regards beings as separate. When we separate ourselves, it gives you a word for it. Literally means as two. It begets a hesitating double state. This is what's called the tamas or tamas. This is where that dude Apollonius, they call him Paul too, or Apostle Paul. Apollonius, that's who's the original person who took the Sanskrit golden seal, which is the book of Revelation, and translated it into our revelation of the Bible. But it's actually the golden seal of the Sanskrit people from a long time ago. And the word Tamas is a side of ourself when we have duality, when there's two of us, which became the twin Doubt and Thomas in the Bible. So it's telling you it's a subtle feeling of attachment. You see, once you start separating yourself from everybody else, you get this subtle feeling of attachment, right? And then this is arises which on being allowed to gain force. This is you start dwelling in your emotions, dwelling in your feelings, dwelling in your dark side, your shadow, regrets, everything like that. You gradually resolve itself into a strong attachment and craving for food. So you see, craving for food is not a natural thing where we do it for hunger. It usually comes from a feeling of attachment, and we feel insignificant, incomplete. So it turns now into us going into compulsion about it when it says keep on trying to allow it to gain force. You know what I'm saying? And it goes from food to clothing to a place to wealth to friends to the five objects of enjoyment, which is lovers, wives, and husbands. These are the chief errors of worldly people. So you got worldly people here that actually attach themselves, and it's through their own insignificant sadness, wanting to have a man, wanting this, wanting that, wanting this, wanting that, that make all this reality real. This is not real until you do the above what I said, and this come from thoughts. So it says there is no end to this action flowing from the ideas of dualism, which regrets things as external reality, and the mind which perceive them as inner reality. If samsara be left to itself, it goes on pondering samsara forever. So this is what I'm about to get into of what happens to you when you die, because you keep creating this after life too, and it continues forever, infinitely, until you get out of that loop. And that's what you're here to learn. That's what your purpose here is, not to be distracted by what you see on TV, the shit going on with the Illuminati and CNN. Your thing is to face death and survive. You've been doing this from eternity. You understand? And it's still the same shit. This happened already. Everything you're seeing going on outside of the external world happened already, and it's a stage show to fool you. So it says to attain release therefrom, effort guided by wisdom is necessary. And that's what you're here for, to acquire the wisdom necessary for you to make the effort to get up out of this place. So on that note now, there's another important part too that I wanted to bring to reality. Let me see. Let me go back over here for a quick minute because I went to the screen. So everybody can hear me. Peace and blessing, LK. How you doing? It's good to see you here. All right. So, being that there's a delay for me still, I'm with y'all. So just bear with me. So once you understand that, let's talk this little talk out about what happens to you when you die. All right. What inspired this journey for me now, for what happened with you when you die, is like I meditate. And when meditation came up on me, it didn't come up on me like I went to school for meditation or I was trying to learn meditation. I didn't know nothing about that stuff. This is where it goes more into a deeper subject of Kundalini and Kundalini work and Kundalini activation. But in a novice, or there is people out here that actually don't actually went to some type of school or practitioner to learn these abilities that I'm about to explain to you, this happens naturally in some people. And these people has always been here from the beginning, and a lot of people mimic them. And so we got people who invented the practitioner of yoga, and I'm talking from Egyptian yoga to Indian yoga, mimicking a group of people who's naturally built like that, who actually did these things. And they was more in tune with like the gypsies, the diaspora. They popped up in all races, all culture, all over, and was seen, as these different type of people. So with that in mind now, you go back now to when I said this meditation that just came on to me. I'm laying down on my back, and say you could say you looking up at your ceiling or you're about to doze off, but all of a sudden, you're compelled by into another environment. Your whole environment just changed, and so you said, "What the hell just happened? Or how is this possible?" Well, this was the first stage of meditation for me. I didn't learn meditation from let me meditate or anything like that. I wasn't into none of that stuff. It just so happened I lay down and another world would appear to me. So once this world would appear, I was trying to move it, turn it, twist it. It was like a Rubik's Cube. And I'm trying to figure out, how do you move it? What do you do? And so this is when I had to learn now. I started watching a lot of videos, especially videos where they was doing the Hebrew letters, and I'm doing them in my head, learning all the different Hebrew letters, and that helped. I ain't gonna lie, that helped. Learning those patterns of symbols, it actually gave my mind the perception it needed to twist this world that was just like a wall, but it was a beautiful mandala. It looked like a mandala if you was to see it. So this mandala now, it just was like one beautiful tile. And so this beautiful tile for me, I couldn't move it, but I'm in a water. It looked like if I'm in a pool of water. Now, this is important for you to understand because this is not water. And a lot of us, we say we be in this water. We was underwater. Our dreams, and sometimes even us, we're connected with water. And this connection is symbolic not to water, but more to the magnetic field. This unified field that Einstein talked about, the wave that people talk about, the 0 point gravity that people talk about. It's actually the first underlying force before an atom or a proton or a neutron or electron starts to spin and becomes a circle, a sphere that's actually readable by humans. Before it's that, it's a wave. That's where sound hit it and start making it spiral into actual a toroidal field that is measurable or some type of way visible. So we come from this wave now that when we go to sleep, we dream, we perceive it as water, that we're in the primordial water, but you're not in the water, you're in a magnetic field. This magnetic field is a wave. So it's very important for us to understand that, because when you go into meditation, you're going into the primordial water, but not the water. Like I said, you're going into the magnetic field, which is a light colored blue wave. It's self-lit, illuminated, but it's always blue, like an aqua color blue. And in it is whatever you perceive. This is where the law of observation comes into effect, where whatever you observe, subatomic particles come together and fall apart. So you dealing with shadow beings. A lot of shadow things is going to be forming. So now on this note, when I started going into these worlds, trying to figure out how to move this mandala, this collage, this tile that's right in front of my eyes, I wind up now realizing when I come out of meditation, I forgot how to move my arm. I forgot how to move my leg. I was stumbled. I was stuck. And I said to myself, wait a minute. When we die, we're going to think that we can move like we regularly move, but we can't move like that in reality. When you're in the world of the dead, they use their mind to move. Okay, I'm going to introduce you now to the macabre, its importance. The macabre itself is like a world, and a world, in a world, in a world, in a world. Windows, you could say. A world and window that forms three-dimensional, you could say, holographic mirrors all on every side. These holographic mirrors is your possibilities, your past, and your present moment at all happening in concurrent existence at one time inside the macabre. So now, the reason why this is important for you to understand is because you're actually able to tap into this macabre, tap into all those possibilities, use them, and understand them to make yourself understand how life and death works. The reason why this is important is because in our biological sense, our biological body, we move our arms like this, we move our legs like this. But when you go into the world of the dead, there's no biology no more. You lost that. That's gone. So now what happens? You have to learn how to move your light body. The first body that you fall asleep in, or your dream body, called the astral body, is a mind body that uses the mind to move. You use it more that. You don't use it in an atomical way. So that's the first thing that a lot of people is going to error, because when I first was in there, I was trying to move, like just move my hands slowly and maybe the light body move, or move my legs slowly or the light body. Nothing like that. It's all mind. And so when this first started occurring, that mandala, before it stood in front of me as like a wall, that is just a big wall floating in a wave, it actually was first like a little dot in space, or a little square floating around like a window, and I'm trying to grasp a concept of it. And the concept is basically, if you try to look at it, it's going to move away from you. Wherever you look, you're not going to get it. Thank you, I seek blessing. Thank you very much. So being that when you try to look at it, it works in like a gyroscope effect. If you look, like say it's here, if you look this way, it's gonna go like this. If you look this way, it's gonna go like this. If you look down on it, it goes the opposite of wherever you look. So this is all that's going on right now. Like right now, it's in the back of your head till you lay down and go to sleep. Then it comes around to the front of your eyeball and give you the dreams. So during meditation, this now takes on a whole new experience, because you come to peace. You're a magnetic field, you're an electrical field too. So once you could balance out the two energies, this is the screen that I tell you about, or the dragon floating around, and you can't get it. You're just going to be in space as an astral body until you figure out you don't use your arms or your legs, you don't use your atomical body to move, you use your mind. Once you learn that, the screen stop moving. It's probably far away, like little, then it start coming, getting closer and bigger and bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, you're overwhelmed by it. It takes you over. It's just you're in that world. At points when you could grasp it to some extent, it could be a screen in front of you that you could watch or go through. But the concept of what the screen is trying to do or introduce you to is a surreal world. It want to consume you into that world, and that gonna bring me into modern time of how I go into places, see things, walk around them, from the White House to friend's house, and see everything. So once you're able to grasp the concept now that this screen is going to be floating like this is the problem. You're always thinking in either your right side of your brain or your left side of your brain. And you're going to go, when that time comes, and you're saying you're going to go to the light. You're going to either go to the right, or you're either going to go to the left, because we're not balancing ourselves as a whole. We either too feminine or too masculine, which reside in either hemisphere of your brain, right hemisphere or left hemisphere of the brain. So you yourself in a whole, or us on a whole, we spend all of our life, like say this is center point. We don't spend our life in the moment, here and now. This will be our brain, right hemisphere and left hemisphere balance. We always pondering, say in the past, so you're always here, or you always prejudging or predetermining the future, so you always here. You understand? So you going back and forth, and this takes you into an emotional state, which use your emotional body, and we live a life of anxiety, fear, producing chemicals in our body through not being centered with our masculine side and our feminine side as forces. Because if you go into your masculine side, you, just like how I just did, this will be the masculine side though. it pushes away your feminine self and crush it into a compressor. And so your masculine takes over the whole screen and you're all the way over here. If you're in your feminine side, you same thing. You come in here. This the feminine's gonna push this over here, and so you're only seeing life from this side of life. Or if you're you're only seeing life from this side. But there is a point where you could balance the two. When you balance the two, you have force over life. It's now you're the magnetic field. Everything have a magnetic field around it, so you get to control things and move things, and that's how you work with a light body. Light is attracted to magnets, so you bring that magnetic vibration to yourself, and now you're able to travel through balance of your polarity. So that's the first thing it taught me. This reflected in our day-to-day life, our how we make decisions, relationships, how we choose our mates. We're not focused or grounded on our balance of our mind and body. We're balanced in our emotion and our masculine side or feminine side, which is lacking in itself, and it needs something to complete itself, so externalize itself and attaches itself. So once you understand this, you will go for balance. There's through balance is accomplished through your conquering of fear. Fear is your shadow side that keeps you either balanced to the right or to the left hemisphere. Fear, overcoming fear pulls this back and keeps it balanced. Fear is whatever overwhelms you, push it to either the left or to the right, which ponders your mind in the past or keep you pondering upon possibilities of the future, and you're never in the moment. So once you're in the moment, you'll be able to see your hands in front of your face and direct it to where you want to go. So this hand that's in front of the face will be equivalent to your astral body, the light body, and you direct it by your will to where you want it to go, not by how you move anatomically or biophysically. So once you realize what I'm saying, this is the first step to learning what happens when you die. This is all part of a soul trap that religion plays upon our psychology, so we don't have to do anything. Now, speaking of religion and doing anything, I wanted to get to a point that is very important. It's very important to us to realize when we were born, we're not born fully developed, fully connected. Because what you see as, like, say, the illuminated or the Illuminati holding set of information, and the rest of the people don't have this information. This was the same procedure that was followed in Egypt. This was the same procedures followed out through the whole of West Africa from the beginning of time. Because the simple fact, you would have to develop first your body, especially your sacral bone has to connect. And those spade bone and sacral bone don't connect till you're like 33. And that's symbolically represented with Jesus coming out at 33 with all his chakras connected to show you when you're fully connected with your chakras through the initiation, what you're able to do. The initiation being you confronting your shadow side, your dark side, your soul. And once you do that, it's you initiated yourself. But the process was done through a hierophant, or the Anubis or the high priest will guard you and help you don't make bad decisions within that journey. So now, once you understand this, the balance of your hemispheres, balance is a reflection of how your life is balanced out and what you need. So once you balance it out, you will see yourself breaking from a lot of attachments, a lot of desires, a lot of compulsive behavior, and a lot of insecurities, and you become more complete within your own self as this balance come in. So once you're balanced now, the screen will automatically, or the wall will come up in front of you, and now you're facing a wall that's a wave. It's a wavy wall, and this wavy wall now has infinite possibilities in it. It's not like you got to go somewhere and you're swimming like a fish. None of that stuff, because I tell you, it's mine. So with the wave wall, it's what you think. If you think the moment you got shot, boom, you feel, oh my God, you're going to that, oh my God. You have thought, you're becoming a thought now, into the thought wave field again. And so you have to balance yourself and be at peace with yourself at that present moment for you to actually experience the thought field. As you're going to experience what you think in that thought field. And that's what religion do to our minds. It gives us symbols and pictures to induce the thought process of what we're going to see, what we're going to experience. and that's not real. Everybody's experience and what they're going to see is unique to them because they were sent here by somebody and guided by somebody and is with a bunch of spirit people that is they're accomplishing their evolutionary processes. They're going up their ladder of evolution. It don't run concurrent with everybody because it's different type of people here who have committed different crimes of sin and also have done great honor and valor things of courageousness too. And people is putting categorized according to their works by what you do in this world. So you can't just say everybody's going to go concurrently to hell or to heaven. There's no such thing as that. And we need to get that out of there. Your sum total of your life is going to be summed up and measured, and you're going to continue your evolutionary process no matter who you are. Whether you go down some and come back up, or you stay up and you keep going up. So that's how life works. You know, everything that you're experiencing is an experience. That's it. It doesn't have an equation number to equal positive or negative, meaning good or bad. It's your experience. You need to evolve you, and you must indulge yourself in your experience. Don't let your experience overwhelm you to confuse you with ego and a swollen head. So now with that in mind, you learn now the will control the astral body, and it will still control it today, but we use it in ways that is cunning more to could convert a man or a woman to get jobs or to just be a pushover at work. We use it and we know about it to protect our kids, watch over, make sure our man and woman ain't cheating on us. We use it. You know, we have this sixth sense that we tap into for our own egotistical reason, but it could be tapped into all the time and used in psychic ways to actually promote life and help you balance out yourself to be a high person, to bring your nation together, to make other people look up to you and say, yes, this is what I want. So this is the purpose of actually taking the initiation and for bringing the soul back into you and bringing your soul back into the world. So it actually is going to transform you. But now, so what happens to you when you die now? Well, after some people lay there for a long period of time trying to move their arms and legs, trying to figure out how to move, something is going to come. You get a spirit guide that comes like an orb light. It came to me in that whirlpool or the pool of the Mandela, and you get to have a guidance that's going to take you through your journey. Now, once that came up, which was like a week or two later, me there trying forever to move this thing, all type of mind thing, and it didn't move. It was when this little orb light came, I followed it, and it started this journey. And this journey now changed the pool finally to first tree limbs. It was dark, and you just see tree limbs, and these tree limbs actually now is black and the blue silhouette of the sky, just dark, dark navy blue sky. And as we traveled through there, it was the beginning of entering not just the tree of life, but your own biophysiology seen as a hologram in a surreal journey through your body as the 48 constellations. So, you know, when you realize you have 48 constellations inside of you, you know, if you see my Facebook, I show you the body, how each zodiac is attached to a certain organ, and each organ produces chemicals that's called your endocrinology system, which is connected to the chakra. You get an idea of what controls you, the real you, not what controls your body or what your five senses react to. What controls the inner you, what piss you off, what make you say, damn, I shouldn't have did that. These things is your endocrinology system have control over that. So it's your chakra system that is the true controller. Your chakra system is the true exit out of you, the body, out of you, the ethereal and spiritual body, to move up into higher bodies. So now, once you realize this and you're able to start your journey now into meditation, and it's not just a block or just dark space, you're seeing things. You start seeing the dead. The dead is like a part of this, you could say, frequency of sheaths that you're going to be passing. You're passing many frequencies now as you travel to your destiny. So you're going to pass from stars to activists to all the peoples that you see, because you're traveling in a wave of light. What we call the magnetic field, to you it seems like water, but in there it's the same like telephone signals, Wi-Fi signals. You could say they're all in there, but they're all on their sub bandwidth. Everyone got a sub channel that as you travel this field, you cut in through their zone. So you will see a whole bunch of your ancestors, your mother, everybody have an existence still in their true state now. Look at it as how we see it in our world. It's not how they see it in their world. In this world now, a black hole is when a man and a woman is having sex, producing and pushing back and forth. A magnetic field creates a black hole. A soul is a little subtle energy or orb that is flying around in this world. Yo, thank you, realist. God bless you, brother, the realist, for real. Um, Thank you for getting up that knowledge. Yes, you know I have to give it up, man. You know I'm gonna read these at the end because of the delay, so I don't want to be thrown off. So once we be encountering sex and we start having sex, these subtle energies that is actually these orb lights that is floating around is magnetically yanked, pulled out of the astral world, but they not pulled. You got to realize first before we say pull down and pull out. You're attached to the earth. You can't leave the earth. You're like a tree that we think we're actually not a tree or we're not the dirt. You can't take your feet off the ground. You could jump up for a few seconds, but your feet stay on the ground. Don't let a bird fool you. A bird have to land. Everything is stuck to the earth. So if a soul was coming, it would have came from inside and pushed up and came up right into the womb. It would have. It's stuck now. It's stuck in the body. So now for the remainder of the time that this body have to go from an embryo to a snake to a tadpole to a human being to death, it's stuck in the body, but it's not in its pure form. It has weight on it. It's like for you to heal your body, you can't be in your body and see your body to heal it. You would have to actually be outside the picture, but you're in the picture. How could you do something about the picture if you're in the picture? You can't see the whole picture. So it's the same thing. When you're in the body, you're supposed to learn about your spiritual world. You're supposed to take the time out now because you got cut off the spiritual world and yanked into a vagina. And that's why I said you didn't come from up in. You came from inner and shot up into something, into her vagina. You would have went up, yes, if you would have got through her vagina or her crown, but you got trapped in the womb. And that now is where a body get put around you, a crust, a shell, and you're stuck here now, walking, stuck to the earth. You can't get off the earth until you actually could take yourself back, and the only way through is through the chakras. So this is why it's important to learn this, because you didn't bring yourself here. This is all part of the act of sex. It make black holes that yank souls into bodies, into the womb. And so now once you realize that, this is why we go through stages. When you're first born as a child, and until you hit puberty, you're your mother's child. But once you hit puberty, you're awakened, your third eye opens up, your final chakra open up, and you realize your individuality, even though you're part of a family. Of course you have a brother, but you start individualizing yourself and becoming that soul now. You're taking charge of that body, you're conscious of it. And so that happens when we hit puberty, and the war start off between us and our parents, because not because you're against them or rebelling, is because you want your own individuality. Your DNA code came with your instructions and you're going to carry them out. But your parents want you to be a lawyer, doctor, chief, go to school, do this. So it become a conflict of interest. Our DNA codes for action is always different per generation because it's from the nature and God and the soul. It gives the genetic code to say, hey, this is what you're going to do when you get out there. It's in the body. It's not in the soul. The soul is just there to take you back, the consciousness, to take you back where you came from. God put that in as a thing, but you don't put yourself in the body. You get trapped there. And so once you realize that, death becomes now being back into the soul world. There's no such thing as death. This takes the mystery off of dying And it takes the mystery of thinking you just go to sleep in the darkness forever. It takes the mystery of, or you think you're going to a place called hell. There's no such thing. There's take the mystery of you going to a heaven. There's no such thing. Those things is three possibilities in life you gave yourself out of unlimited possibilities. So it couldn't be these three out of unlimited possibilities because you're missing the word unlimited possibilities. So your possibilities is played out in your individual action, determines your future. If you take yourself saying today yes, 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 and you always went this way when you said yes, if you say no today, you're going this way now. So you can't determine what's gonna happen to you, or what your end story is, until it's summed up at that last second. You can still say no or yes and change the direction you're going in, which we do daily. So you can never sum it up. That's why they say stay in the moment. That's very important. Stay in the moment. Once you're able to stay in the moment, you grabbing a grasp of your reality right there, and you're in control of it. So that part is very important to understand. Like I said, now once you understand that the act of dying is crossing back over to your dream world, the real world of all worlds, all possibilities, all the yous, everything. There's nothing to say like you're going to Mars, you're going to Earth, you're going to Venus. That would be repeating the laws of the Earth in every other thing. That applies to only the Earth while you was there. When you leave the Earth, your biology is left here. You don't have no remembrance of your actual body. You don't remember to try to move your arm. You won't remember to try to walk. You won't remember your kids. None of those stuff will be in yours. You'll be traumatized. What you will remember, though, is your attachments. A lot of people, they got kids, houses, cars. These things, when you pass on, is the first things that run through our mind, and we attach a certain part of ourselves to it, and so we don't fully cross over. We become what's called demons. You know, these entities that's floating around, thought forms or ghosts. You see it all. These things is attached to something, and you got spiritual administrators such as myself or other people who learn how to travel these worlds, was taught by spirits and help between the, you could, what you would say is purgatory, but to help people transfer over to the whole spirit world and leave their attachments, you know, because these is demon sheaths. They just assume these thought forms and they attach to human beings, and when they do, they get the feeling that they human again, just that energy that they get from it. So this is actually occurring every day, and we call these succubuses, or entities that attach to people that give them not just mental disease, but it gives us actually schizophrenia. It gives us the most important one is neurosis. Neurosis make you a neurotic, fear of everything, fear of death. Because sometimes we have things talking in our heads and we don't realize it. You think it's your thoughts, but it's not your thoughts. It's you tuning into those ancestors, those frequencies. So once you learn all of this, it's about you on your journey. Meditation is about you, learning who you are. As you go into it, you're coming out of you into your magnetic field. As you come out into your magnetic field, you're going to see your past life. You're going to see yourself as a boy, a girl, white, black, Chinese. It's going to play out to you in a so real experience. But it's the attachment that make you can't see these things. If you saw the beginning of this video, I read something and showed an article, a piece of an old ancient book that showed separation is the beginning of attachment. Separation leads to duality from the whole. So the more we separate ourselves, the more we're going to want something. The more you're going to want food, you want clothing, you want happiness, you want this. All of this is already within yourself, and your whole is of a separation that brings about this. That's why the government is separating us. We're separated most of all from our parents. Like they say in all Disney movies, what's the first thing you see that they show kids? There's the father or the lion father, the duck parents or the fish parents getting taken away from the kids, and the kids is fucked up for the rest of the movie. Trauma. That's what this is about. You understand? So once you realize that, this changes the way we see life. This makes us bitter. This put up walls, and then we don't learn this part of the science that we need to learn. So when you first learn, and when you first actually wake up to this reality that you could actually live beyond death, then you will be concerned enough to go say, what do you mean? What are you talking about? How is this? Or why are you even bringing this up? To bring it to these points, like, okay, you have to open up your chakras. You have to learn to drive your macabre or your soul body, which is what people see as streaks of lights, is picked up on radar. This is the UFOs that's coming now. More people is meditating now, and more people is being picked up on radar, seen outside as light beings and all these other things, and don't know it's them yet. That's going to come into the future. They're going to show you that it's y'all doing it. But now, once you're able to take these journeys, you're leaving your biological body to assume the light body, the same light body that all other beings that have left this dimension is in. So you're in a big matrix with everybody now. It's the vibratory frequency of your thoughts put you on the frequency of where you're going. So once you learn all of this science and know that there's nobody dead and there's nobody that ever left, you just can't see them because of our visible light spectrum of our eyes can only see in that spectrum. You're only seeing something of this solid world. And this solid world is ran by Cali. And who is Cali is who's in control of your government. Cali is who the Rothschild and Rockefellers and all them pay homage to. Cali is the confusion inside yourself that keep you not able to understand most of the information you need to bypass Cali to get out. Cali works with the moon, and the moon will be called Amentet, or the crocodile that sucks back in souls and bring you back in a cycle of reincarnation that always keep going over and over again. So we learn to actually astral project, leave our body, meditate, so that when you open these chakras to make your body do that, you open in yourself to leave upon death out your body and start your journey wherever you left off in your meditation, to keep going back, to keep ascending up, finishing your ascension on where you're going. So once you understand that concept, you will do it alive. You can't do it when you're dead. It's like being in the body. You can't heal the internal body while you're in your body. Why? Because you don't know which organ right now is ruptured or is kind of off right now. You have to wait till you're sick in your body to know when to heal your body. You understand? But if you was outside your body but had the ability to see inside your body and feel what the inner body is doing, you'll know where to go heal before it turns into something big or become something else being affected by this over here not working right. So that's the journey you're doing. Being here in this physical world, you learn your spiritual. So you got your shit together and ready when you get across. When you get across, you learn your physical, because that's your magnetic field. Your magnetic field is where all diseases and disharmonies begin first before it affects the organs. So you will fix your magnetic field before entering another body, or fix yourself up how you so see yourself. So when you come back in a body, your body is on a superior level. So this is the importance of us coming here and understanding this, and don't have the fear thing going. Fear is actually something being fed to a shadow. You have a shadow that come with you. It's in its pure form. It's gonna be your traveling body to travel to the next body. It takes you to your astral body. Your shadow's with you all the times, as you can see. As long as there's light, you have a shadow. One thing you gotta realize: the shadow is feminine in its nature. It's feminine, but it's you in the whole. So a lot of us now grew up in situations where, through fear, um, depression or sadness, broken heart, like your pops left your moms with somebody else and you wish they was back together, lead to us having strong egos and strong shadows built up inside of us. When I say these strong egos and strong shadows, I mean in the sense of a fear that is so buried in you that you don't want to face it. So it make you strong. It make your ego strong. You don't want to look at that fear. The more dominant you are and the more alpha you are, is a deeper fear that is so deep that you don't want to face it. And so with it now growing, that shadow is going to overwhelm you one day. Say it's a drink you have, and when you have that drink, you turn into somebody else. That shadow. The shadow is one step away from taking over your character, your personality, and you're gonna be it. That's what you notice. A lot of old people is their shadow now. Bitter motherfuckers, just beefing about everything, because they never paid attention to their shadow, so they became their shadow, or the shadow overwhelmed them eventually. The shadow grows strong as you repress these fears, have these regrets, trying to please people, trying to fit in, and these can bring about sadness and sorrow. When you look outside of yourself and into the external world, all you're gonna see is pain and sorrow, and that feeds your shadow. Eventually, you have a split in you that you can't fully control. So it's important to understand these journeys, to see the other side, to get within yourself, to balance out yourself and your psychology in this world, your chemistry in this world. It'll balance you out. When you balance out, you have psychic abilities, an inner intuition to see things before it happens. Everything will come to you before it happens. But first, you have to lift up all the extra stuff off of you. Once you do that, then your psychic self will connect. Your chakras will connect. You know, without getting too complicated, because when we talk chakras, yes, it's a circle. It's definitely a circle. All circles. A chakra is when you drop a stone into the lake, and that ripple circle it makes is a chakra. As you look in life, let's look at life. A symbol of that circle is in everything. They make it like it's the sun, and it's being manipulated throughout our advertisement agencies and logos to push on our psychology of our subconscious, because we're symbols. Our mind don't know vocabulary, talk language. It don't know vibration, period. It only know pictures. And so if you wanted to get up and go to the bathroom, a picture you go into the bathroom come in your head, and then you get up and go to the bathroom. If you're going to go eat, a picture of it come in your head, and you go do it. So these symbols that pop up in our subconscious that make us act out unconsciously is what logos and advertisement company do marketing and research into finding out through the ancient books, and then use them today as these new marketing and advertisement logo brands to get us to buy their stuff. So what I'm telling you with chakras is, you see them. If you go get some Indian books on chakras, get some Egyptian book on chakras. You need to see different chakras in Indian, not just the Vedic Indians. I'm talking American Indians too. Once you get to see what chakras is, they all going to have one thing in common. They're the shape of a circle, and wheels inside wheels is what Ezekiel called it. It is what it is. So the story of Ezekiel, the story of Daniel, the story of Isaiah is them inside their body. All of it is inside their body. They seeing all this stuff. So once you realize that, you will get to understand then um, chakras. Chakras is not what we think they are. They're not just a circle. I tell you, it's the ripple. If you pay attention in your shower and you have very good eyes, watch when the water hits the tile on the floor. They make nice, beautiful circle for 1 second. They come into existence and go away. They even in the air is half a rainbow. It's the corona around the sun with the light. It's the circle. It's in everything. It's your cell. It's the atom. That's the chakra. All right. So once you learn what a chakra is, it's one of the most magicalest and strongest symbol in the world. It is the strongest symbol in the world. It's manipulated in many words. The circumpunt, the whole of the woman's vagina, your eye. This is very important to understand. Once you understand what a chakra looks like in the symbology, now you're going to realize a chakra is what's called an anagram, meaning it's not just a circle. It has intelligence, sound, video, and it's alive too at the same time, every single one. And there's, as much as you can see subatomic particles that make up air and light, it's chakras. Each one of them is a chakra. And your job is to obtain chakras. Chakras is what's called the genius of intelligence. If you want intelligence, you don't get intelligence by watching YouTube. You're tapping into your inner genius. Chakras, they've been here already, and they know the true nature of everything. So every family back in the 1500, 1400 had a genius as the head of the family because he went through his ascension and was initiated to release his chakras. It's when you open up the crown, you're free to go chakra catching, chakra hunting. Go find these light beings, and once you acquire them, they give you their knowledge, and now you know everything. And that's how it goes. It'll be more intuitive based than actually 1 + 1 = 2, what you just learned from school. It don't work like that. Give you the problem, you solve it, or throw you in the middle of the situation, and you'll take care of it somehow. That's how it works, because you have it in you, but it's an instinct that has to be activated through an experience. All right. So once you realize this, you taking these journeys and you're meeting these ancestors. These are your chakras that you're connecting. But it looks so real. Like I said, it's an anagram. It's a sound, yeah, sound, video, and action. They call it also, if you want to see it in science, it's called fractal energy. Look up fractal energy. That's what it's called. You got chaos energy and you got chaos, fractal energy, fractal science and chaos science. That's the science of that subatomic world, of your subatomic self. And fractals is how our ancestors communicate to us, through fractal energy. A light source or orb that if your mind connect to it, it turns into a hologram of another world in your mind. And there'll be nothing there you can see. But it's a chakra there. You understand? This is documented in Sanskrit and Hindu books. They the ones who mastered all this sun chakra stuff. And we in the West use it as pharmaceutical money-making schemes and putting people in the hospital and giving them drugs to overcome it, instead of making them ascend to be these higher healers, these higher beings, these leaders, these great super people that was predicted to be here. We never had a chance because they keep knocking us down, and denying us this knowledge, not teaching us about the apotheosis and our right to the higher worlds and to higher knowledge, and to take this earth into its next level of being. And that's why y'all have anxiety, you're not happy, because y'all got more abilities inside of you that is being repressed, that's being suppressed, that y'all don't know where it's the knowledge to do it, but it's here, and that's what you're here to do, to learn it. And through not being afraid of death and being one with our ancestors, you will get the knowledge because they obtained it already, and it was never passed down through books. Writing came into existence when the printing press and everything came out. Aside from that, people like Ptolemy, all of them was going around collecting handwritten works of all the ancient ancestors so he could have the knowledge. This knowledge don't just come to you. You either obtain it through the ancestors, or you got a great collection of books, ancient books that pass this knowledge on. And so since we ain't got the books, we have to tap in. Our way of tapping in is very simple, and we're not taught this. And it's not you doing it on purpose, but if you're conscious of this, you can. And you got to realize it's two type of people here. There's people who's a demigod, meaning they have a soul, but they have to go acquire their soul. Their journey here is to acquire their soul. Then you have a lot of people here who's a part of the problem to block you from acquiring your soul. They're the distraction to keep you reincarnating and just keep coming back, following these algorithms, or what you see on TV is what you do, so you reincarnate. You can't do what somebody else do. Your path got to be original for you not to incarnate. It's just like the Matrix. What I'm telling you about it and how we all tap into this universal consciousness is the same way. To input data into the universal consciousness, you have to be original. You can't think of something in the Matrix, because anything you think of was already thought of. You're just taking little thoughts and putting it together to make it your own. But there is people who input new thoughts into the Matrix because it only accepts new thoughts, but it has to be original. You get that through ancestor lessons, because they know what's here already, and they could put you to be the original you. It's the way when people from the 80s started coming up with graffiti writing, you couldn't copy them. You couldn't do what another rapper did back then. You couldn't rap like them. You couldn't use their flow. You couldn't use their style. Everybody was original. Nobody copied or duplicated nobody. If he did it, nobody else is going to try to do it again. But today, it's like T-Pain came out with auto-tune, and every song got auto-tune on it. You hear this on the radio, this is what the record company want, another person like it. So we lost our individuality and are able to create and bring into the matrix to actually selling out to the matrix so we can make money off of us instead of us making money off of it. So on that note now, when I told you about the universal consciousness and tapping into it, it's something we do unconsciously. Like if you ever listen to yourself, if you came from a different country, you'll understand it quicker. If you was to visit other countries, you'll notice all of them be like an American. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 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 right. You know what I'm saying? And you've seen them over there too. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't make it up. You just tapped into that. And like in Jamaica, everybody be like, you know, and yeah, right. And so I'm like, well, everybody, it's like a spirit. Everybody's got the same spirit. Same thing in America. Look, everybody got the same spirit. So you tap into this universal consciousness of somebody who first did that, and the whole world tap into it. I'll give you a good example of this. I feed like the stray cats around here. I give them food all the time. So when I come out with the food, they all gather around my feet as I'm dropping it. They catching it, hitting their head. Now this one time I had hot water, boiling water. I'm pouring it out. He come running right into the water, thinking this food dropping on his head burnt the shit out of him, and he moved back. Now all the other cats came the following day, and as I poured out the food, they all backed up. No cat came like they was doing, running to me and bumping my legs and hurrying up to get it. All of them stood back, and they wasn't there when the cat got burnt. But I realized, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So it seemed like the cat was still there at that present moment that got burnt, like a video was still there that they could sense and see, because they knew to step back. As soon as I go to pour off the whatever I'm pouring off the plate, they push back. So I said, oh, okay. So the universal consciousness is in us, and we don't know about it. Now, how you tap in, because that's where you get your source information, your update, your personality, your characteristics, what's called your swag, is in that, because we all share the same spirit, the same swag, the universal consciousness. So now, say now you want to tap in, and it's the same when you go into meditation. You actually take a journey, but this journey that you're taking is fake if you have thoughts to yourself. If you go into meditation thinking, that's where you're going. Any thought you have in meditation, that's where you're going. Meditation is a thoughtless process. Why they call it nirvana, the silence, the nothing, that's where you see the real shit at. You're impushing on God, you're impushing on nature, imposing your thoughts on it, and it's a reflective mirror, it's a subtle energy. So when you push, that's what's gonna come out. What you want to see, what you want to experience, what you think is gonna happen. But that's not really what it is. But that's how it works. So once you know that law, you don't think in that, because what you think will happen. If you think something wrong, fucked up, you can't actually transcend it into reality, because what happened in the spiritual comes down to the reality. So you curb your thoughts in those fields, and if you want to see the true matrix, have no thoughts, and then what you're going to experience is the universal consciousness. You start seeing a whole bunch of collage of everything that's happening at the present moment that is going on in this world. Whatever took place for the day, the year, whatever it is. You enter a collage of energy of just that. But it can't be your thoughts that are that for you to experience it. You start drifting this way. If your thoughts come in this way, you start drifting this way. So they be like this. The angels and higher beings like, yo, yo, yo. And I'll be like, okay, and I'm back again, back on the journey. So what I'm telling you is from experience. It's not something I'm making up as a philosophy. I've taken this journey, and sometimes I drift off, and I find myself in some weird place. But like I tell you, I'm following the orb of light. It guides me back on the path, and that has brought me to the understanding that we could drift off our whole life and leave the path and realize, oh shit, I'm tunnel vision off this nigga or this woman or this job or this situation or this love, and forgot about the journey. And so that's where we get caught up in those tunnel visions that actually take us into a whole nother world, another aspect of ourselves. And we lose ourselves to fate, not destiny, to fate. Okay. So once you start understanding these things and able to realize the chakras, journey through them, there is actually out the anagrams or fractals. You realize that you could do more with yourself. You're learning it's like giving yourself some instruction of how your body works, how you travel through light, phonon. And you're more light than anything because you live and exist inside the loophole of your DNA. You're the light in the DNA. Yeah, that's who you are, the light in the DNA. That makes the DNA thing. It's a big loop, and it's the DNA. If you can unwind it, will go to the moon 1,000 times and back. If one person DNA go to the moon 1,000 times and back, if you was to untangle it, so your DNA is a long thing, and you're full of it with light. That's you. That's who you are. She wouldn't be here. So, it's very important for you to understand that the light is source is who you are. Children of the light, children of the sun. You hear all them terms? That's real. You see the Egyptians connecting themselves to rays of the sun, light to light. 7 rays of light. Rose cross, light. Son of the widow. Everything deals with light. That's why you see the light is at the top. But now, I don't want you to concentrate on the light, but understand your journey and how you work, where your ancestors is at, where they're at. They're still there. Nobody could die. Nobody is good. Nobody is hurt. They're even better. They're feeling sorry for you because you got to deal with corona, deal with the lockdown. They're all right. That's why I want you to first realize that nobody could die. All right? And so the journey to living through death, though, is experiencing it through meditation, through taking yourself through the soul journey, through being real with yourself, to take off those false masks, those false views, those false energies, to resonate back at the earth's vibratory frequency. Then when you go into meditation, it gives you your instructions. Your teacher is there waiting for you. Like they say, when the student is ready, his teacher will appear. So prepare yourself, because your teacher is here. Your teacher is inside of you. You're your teacher. Once you tap into yourself, and you become more instinctive. Instinctiveness is the future. As you can see, we was miseducated. Music industry is falling apart, and this world turned into the hyena and the wolf. Everybody's snitching on their self. And with snitching on their self, they're just making discouragement within humanity. And this discouragement is where you're going to put yourself into this anxiety state, the sick state, vibrating at the false frequency. No, don't look outside of yourself. You still have to feed your kids. You still have to pay your bills. Nobody do that for you. You have to figure a way. And this is the way for the future for it. Once you take this journey into yourself and learn how to go from a child to adult and handle things in an adult way, which is what this is going to make you overcome your fear. You will be able to come back and make jobs, make opportunities for other people than just yourself. But it starts by you taking a journey through your fear factor and facing your true shadow, your true self. And with you doing that, you meet your ancestors, the dead, being one with the dead and being good with it. We're entering those frequencies now with this Aquarian age. Before I do that, I want to switch up into this one. Let me see some of these comments. It's kind of hard, so bear with me. Philosophers, what are the ancient books, or what books do you recommend? Okay, let's go to the book recommendations. That's what's up. I got you right now. Let's do some book recommendations. Okay. I've been doing some. It's a great one. Let me see if I could screenshot these as I'm doing them, and see if I could pull it up to give it to you so you could see the cover. One great one that is good is called Energy Work. Energy enhancement, for what we just discussed with the chakras, how to get to them. Let me see if I could share my screen. I think I could do my screen. This thing is kind of cool, I think. Let me see if I could do my screen. If I could do my screen, then I could show you it. 1 second. Window capture, I think it is. Let's see. Is that it? display capture. Here it is. Okay, cool. So I think that's on now. Let me see. Let's go to the books. Where we at? Go down here. Okay. Okay, hopefully y'all can see this on your screen. Let me see. I'm gonna go to the YouTube one, see if it's there. Okay, once I can see that this is on the screen, then I know. Okay, so y'all seeing it? Cool. Alright. Back to books. Okay, this energy enhancement right here is the one I'm telling you about. You know, this is a good book. This actually teaches you how to get your chakras, how to increase your genius, and to take bad energy off of you, because a lot of us don't understand the concept of it. So I'm going to go down into it a little bit and read it. As you can see, it says Energy Enhancement Course. This work has been written with the aim of introducing the techniques of energy enhancement to the world. This new course of energy enhancement is an integration and improvement on ancient techniques over 5,000 years of the best tracked records of success in producing and accelerating in the evolution of partaking of them. Speed up the process of evolution. And energy enhancement, the process of enlightenment. So I tell you, this is what it is to get the knowledge and enlightenment. Stop the trauma. Energy enhancement teaches how to dissolve old trauma to congeal painful energies called negative karmatic mass. More energy, less sleep, more vigor, more ability to do, speeding up our normal mind, connecting with the source. Everything that I just spoke about is right here. The grounding of negative energies and the removal of pain. No body aches, no pains, no bad memories, stable emotion, full breathing, a quiet mind, soul fusion, access to your genius. You see right here? This is what I was just telling you about. Access to your genius. You don't read it in books, you get it right here. The ability to channel information, genius, intuition, and infinite energy, more creative in your chosen field of effort, the path of your life. The mastery of thought forms. This is the entities, the beings that you manifest yourself. The removal of energy blockages. That's the removal of thought forms. That's what removal of energy blockages. Mastery of bad and good habits. These is how you think. That's what fuck you up. Oh, I don't think I could get the job. Oh, I think, what did the neighbor, what did he mean when he said that? Do you think? Stop thinking, man. That's it, just chill. I be telling them, stop thinking. Why are you contemplating? A lot of us is control freaks. We love to be in control. When you're in control, you block up your abdomen. Your ab chakras is the thing for control. That's people who keep their stomach compressed in. Those is control freaks. Alright, let me just finish. The healing of all painful inner children. You see, the ability to deal with your childish tragedies, the channeling and creating of teaching tools. So this right here, this is what you would start off with just to grasp the concept of what's going on. So let me get to a part that will make you grab the whole concept of this, what I'm saying at the same time. Here we go. I'm gonna kick it from this guy's a genius, man. You gotta get into his books. You talking about books? This, if you can see this highlighted, Paracelsus, get his books. Paracelsus is a genius, and he spent time with all the entities. Yo, he describes and tell you every entity. Get Paracelsus, his life, his teachings. I recommend that one. That is the greatest book of all time, especially if you want to know about the spirit world, about God, about God's world. He teaches you in the most scientific way. Also, Paracelsus discovered hydrogen, so don't think he's any novice. This the guy invented hydrogen. He invented also healing using minerals. He was using minerals to heal, which I think they stopped now, but he's the one who invented that. So let me read this. Paracelsus von Hohenheim was the outstanding medical therapist of his time and perhaps the greatest mystic in the history of Western medicine. He devoted his life to research in the healing arts. Paracelsus visited Constantinople to acquaint himself with the secret practices of the dervish and the Sufis. The invisible progeny of man included thought forms and emotions. Here you go. Let's look at this right here. The invisible prodigy of man include thought forms and emotion forms. These are like infants, the inner children, especially in their beginnings, for they depend upon the creator of the nutrition and survival. Paracelsus noted the most elementaries or subpersonalities seem to be of an evil or destructive nature. So it comes from us. These entities come from us as this word right here called thought forms. And you also have these other ones called emotion forms. And guess what? When you try to tell people they have these issues, they act like infants and ready to fight you and tell you to get the fuck out. Okay. So Paracelsus noted that most of the elementaries or sub-personalities seem to be of an evil, destructive nature. They are generated from the excess of human thoughts and emotions. Hold on, I'm gonna highlight this. Do you see where entities come from? They are generated from the excesses of human thought and emotions, the corruption of character, or the degeneration faculties and powers which should be used in other more constructive ways. Bingo. Voila. This is your demon, the human being. I've been trying to tell y'all this, so I want you to understand. Only demon out here is us. Okay, until you clear this up right here, this thing that he's saying, we have to go through all this. Every human being. This is the initiation. So now Gurdjieff, the person who says he who gets up at 5 in the morning is not the same person who throws the alarm out the window. Addictive and negative subpersonalities were part of Gurdjieff's teaching. The works indeed Gurdjieff cured many people of their most distressing symptoms. One of the basic principles explains the many and varied in its man. The unawakened man is not a unified person. He has dozens of cells of within him, each falsely calling himself me. You see, this is national. No, everybody knows this. He has dozens of cells within him, each falsely calling himself me. The many it's within a man explains himself. No, where it says the many it's within a man explain many mysteries about human nature. For example, a man decides to give up an understandable habit, but the next day he repeats it again. Why? Because another entity, subpersonality, has taken over an energy blockage that looks like a habit has now no intentions to give it up. Well, this goes on deep, but I will recommend this a lot of people to understand the different type of energies. What is energy blockage? What are chakras? How do they affect us? He says up here, you can heal all the inner personalities, split personalities, and remove the destructive strategies from your life by absorbing them back into the central soul personality. So you see what it is? Right here is the key word, your soul. This is when you go get your soul. I tell you, it's the only thing that could save a human being. Because they split us up so much, we don't know which is us, and we think all of them is the same one, but they're not. You can't spot it, but the judge could spot it. Other people could spot it. The DEA could spot it. CIA could spot it, but we can't spot it. So you have to go get your soul. As you can see what it says right here, soul personality is the only way to fix this. Back here, you can heal. You see that word? You can heal with the soul. The correct use of the strategies. Once thought the use of ancient advanced synthesis of effective techniques, the energy blockage of the subpersonality or strategies like the poor me. These is what we carry out. poor me, I'm always in trouble. Oh, the violator or the selfish competitive star within the body have been removed, and it's possible to consciously choose to use the strategies to teach, to test, or just to get things done for a good cause. So basically, this will just teach you about it. Let me see if I could see anything on the chakras real quick, because he does give a little bit of knowledge on the chakras for basic understanding, so that oh, here you go. If you want to learn the different sub-personalities inside of us, here he teaches you about the ego strategies. You got these strategies are where separate intelligences are split off from the central stem of your soul, and are archetypes created, used by the hurt inner child. So if you know archetypes, this is what C.J. Jung brought into reality. He make up this thing called archetypes by taking your anagrams, or what we call those fractals, your splits, the things that make you up, and put them into tarots called archetypes, entities, beings. But they're not. They're just portals through light, but they look like human beings, and they have thoughts and forms to them. So you have to understand this on all levels. So, but we come up with these archetypes within ourselves, and it stems from the central stem of your soul. But it breaks off to become this hurt inner child that separates from the whole. When I tell you you're not whole, and you now seek a family, food, car, it's the hurt inner child that is seeking those things. It's not the true you. All right. The hurt inner child split off from your central soul personality when the person gets traumatized by the painful and corrupt actions of life. So a lot of us don't want to be here, and we don't understand it, and we don't understand ourselves. It says these hurt inner children flow in and out of your consciousness, and it is these split personalities which use the strategies like the violators, the poor me, and the selfish competitive star in order to get this attention and the love of everyone around them. You get it? Let me read that again. These hurt inner children flow in and out of your consciousness, and it is these split personalities which use the strategies like the violator, the poor me, and the selfish competitive star in order to get the attention and love of everyone around them. The problem, and there is a problem, is that these ego strategies always hurt people around them. Eventually they stop working, and the people around them throw them out. With ego strategies, you are rich, you are rich, everyone puts up with them, then their job depends on it, but no one likes them. Pretty much, you know how it is. Kissing ass. Okay, so you could learn all the different strategies, everything in here. This is a good book. What I will do, I think I must give Google links to all these books. Whatever you see I show you here now, I'll give it in my posts on YouTube. You know how you could do posts, so you could get the different books that I'm showing here without having to go buy it. If you rather choose to go buy it, then you know now. But I will give you the PDF forms of whatever you see. I'll post them up in the morning. Okay, so real quick, let's go to another book. I don't think this one is on the chakras, but let me see. There is some important stuff in here. I think it is. Hold on, before I leave. Meditation and the Kundalini, grounding multiple personalities. Okay, hold on. Believe it or not, you wouldn't feel you have these personalities, but you'll see them as entities. If you ever go into your astral, or you go into these places, you're only seeing other forms of yourself. It's only you in there. So whatever you see is another form of you. You're only seeing yourself. You're running from yourself. You're scared of yourself. Yourself is God. Yourself is the devil. It's only you and your thoughts. That's straight facts. Okay, now let me see. I'm just seeing if I see the part on the Kundalini. Well, this is teaching you about the psychopathic side of ourselves, really, and about energy vampires. I don't think that's the one with the chakras. Let me go over, grab the next one real quick, but I want to make sure, because there is some good information in here. It's not. Give me a second. How does this work? Let me go back to books. Okay. Alright, now let me see. I would recommend also this is a good book next to it. It's more about the discipline. This is Kundalini Yoga, the disciplining of the mind. I'm gonna give you first, as the books go in order, because you want to learn, basically the first steps is learning how to quiet the mind. And once you could quiet the mind, the journeys that I'm trying to explain to you, you want to see it. So you'll be able to see it. This is about seeing. Without seeing, feeling only give you 10% of what the experience would be. So you would need to see it to fully comprehend the journey that you're going to take. All right, for those who want to understand some about this world that I'm telling you about, we got this book by C.L. Leadbeater called The Invisible Helpers. This right here teaches you about the different worlds. Let me see if it opens. Here we go. I'm going to go to the table of contents. The different beings and entities that's out here that is spiritual helpers for humanity, that if you could get up to them or get into that world, they'll guide you to and make you into the genius. So let me give you basically the table of contents so you understand it. See, the universal belief in them, you gotta look at this word, who is them? Some modern instances of personal experience, the helpers. You see the helpers? That's important to realize. There's these invisible things. Alright? The reality of super physical life, that's the subatomic world I'm telling you about. A timely intervention, the angel story, I tell you about your angelic side. These things is real. You will see. The story of a fire, materialization, coming into reality, the two brothers, we all know that, the tale of the two brothers, wrecks and catastrophes. Well, all of this, he give a very good description of the beings in there and actually what the journey is like. So I would recommend this for those who is curious about seeing into the other world. Now, the chakra system, I'm still up in here now, up in this. Here we go. Siri Chakra Samvara, Tantra. The key word here is Tantra, and Tantra now gets you into those worlds. This is a chakra itself, which you're looking at. This is a chakra, and he's the gatekeeper right here. This guy's called the gatekeeper of yourself going through yourself, believe it or not. He blocks you from going through yourself till you understand it. As you can see, this is why a lot of people who's not from heaven and never really experienced it will think they're in hell. You see all this stuff on the side, going around the side. You see all this stuff. Everything is alive. It's nothing dead. All this will be alive, everything. And you see it look like a vagina with the clitoris up here. This is just the universal shape of everything. And why Mary is inside the physical Pisces, these will be who you was programmed to be right here under one foot, and who you think you are under this foot. And this is who you really are right here. You understand what I'm saying? The one who came here a long time ago is a warrior, a fighter. He fought to be here. These is personalities, characteristics. Look at yourself as sleeping right here. And this is you when you're sleeping, you turn into this journey. But this don't have nothing to do with a physical form. It's spiritual. And you have to understand these spiritual things. For you to understand it, let me see if I had screenshot some things. And it's very important. It was from the book of Barnabas. And, let me get it up real quick. I want to show you something. Where's my screenshot? Okay. 1 second. Alright, screenshot right here. Let me show you. Alright, this screenshot, this was from the book of Barnabas that we have to understand, right? I just wanted to make this clear. I'm going to pull up this first one first. This is the second one. Hold on. One second. What's this? Here we go. Alright. Now, I wanted to make this. This is out the general epistle of Barnabas. Now, this is in reference to meats, because a lot of us don't eat pork and don't eat certain things because of what it says in the Deuteronomy, the Juridical law. That's what everybody's following. So listen to how a person who understood it back then and was spiritual interpret what Moses said about what we was eating as meat. He says that the command of Moses concerning clean and unclean beasts were all designed for a spiritual signification. You see the word spiritual right here? This is important for you to catch, for a spiritual signification. But why did Moses say he shall not eat of the swine, neither of the eagle, nor of the hawk, nor of the cow, nor of any fish that has not a scale upon him? I answered that the spiritual sense he comprehended three doctrines that were to be gathered further from thence. Besides which he says to them in the book of Deuteronomy, and I will give my statutes unto this people, whereof it is not the commandment of God that they shall not eat these things. But Moses in the spirit, you see this word in the spirit, in his astral body. Whenever they say in the spirit, he's in meditation, his astral body, spoke upon them. And he says, now the sow, he forbade them to eat, meaning thus much, thou shalt not join thyself in such a person as to like unto swine, who whilst they live in pleasure forget their God, but when anyone pinches them, they know the Lord. As the sow, when she is full, knows her master, but when she is hungry, she makes a noise, and being again fed is silent. So when we said don't eat this type of meat, you see how we took it literally? We're so mundane and so material, we didn't see it from this aspect. But this is what I'm trying to tell you. We running around talking about, yo, I ain't eating pork, I ain't doing this. You're missing the whole story. You're gonna be sent back for that because you missed the whole point of what he was trying to tell you. What he's trying to tell you is don't be around fake ass people like these. Let's look at the second one that he says. Now he says, neither says he shall thou eat the eagle, nor the hawk, nor the kite, nor the cow. That is, thou shalt not keep company with such kind of men as to know how by their labors and sweat to get themselves food, but injuriously ravish away the things of others, and watch how to lay snares for them, when at the same time they appear to live in perfection and innocence. So you see, when he tell you don't eat the eagle, the hawk and all that, is to watch out for grimy ass motherfuckers that don't want to work for theirs and just want to take yours. That's what he's telling you, not at the animal himself. So we miss a whole bunch of it chasing our egotistical thought of what it is. He says, so these birds alone seek nothing for themselves, but sit and idle. So it's about birds who don't seek nothing for themselves and like to set snares and take other people's shit, set up plays. You understand? He says, seek how they may eat of the flesh of others, have provided being destructive through their wickedness. Neither say he shall thou eat lamprey, nor the polypus, nor the cattlefish. That is, thou shalt not be like such men by seeking to converse with them who are altogether wicked and adjudged to death. For those fishes are alone accursed, that wallow in the mire, nor swim as other fishes, but tumble in the dirt at the bottom of the deep. But he adds, neither shalt thou eat of the hare. To what end? To signify this to us, thou shalt not be adulterous, nor like thyself to such person, for the hare every year multiplies the place of its conception, and as many years as it lives, so many it has. Neither shalt thou eat of the hyena, that is again, do not an adulterer, nor a corrupter of others, neither like to such, and whereof so, because that creature every year changes its kind, which is sometimes male and sometimes female. So how did Moses know that the hyena is going to be in people? And this is why I said this is the age of the wolf and the hyena. Listen to what the hyena is again. He said, neither shalt thou eat of the hyena. This is again, be not an adulterer, nor a corrupter of others, neither be like such. And wherefore so? Because that the creature every year changes its kind, which is sometimes male and sometimes female. Okay, let's now move on. He said, for which cause also he justly harshed the weasel, to the end that thou shalt not be like such person, who with their mouths commit wickedness by reason of their uncleanliness, nor join themselves with those impure women, who with their mouths commit wickedness, because that animal conceives with its mouth. You get it now? But here go the point to this. 10 seals it in for everybody. He says, Moses therefore speaking as according to me, Moses therefore speaking as concerning meats, delivered indeed these great precepts to them, these spiritual significance of these commands, but they according to the desires of the flesh understood him as if he only meant it in, as of meats. So you see, those who only see it from a fleshly point of view, those who's materialistic, see it from meat. And that's what it was meant to do, trick those people and pull out the truth out of who they are, because they're going to say they justify they this. But this is the test as you're going to be tested upon when you get up into the higher worlds. Like I said, it's symbols. And so you're going to see food on the table, and you're going to see chicken and meat and all this other shit, and you're going to go for it. But it was symbolic to this journey that we're talking about. So a lot of us eat all this foul food. You can't lie. A lot of us, and like I just said, it ain't food. So you know a lot of us fuck with people we ain't supposed to be fucking with. And it gets us into trouble, and we get off on all this trouble. So I just wanted to put that into you so you understand everything is not always what we seen or what it is. And if you don't learn, instead of just taking everything for face value, you're going to get caught up. Okay, now this is about a book about the chakras right here. Now the thing with this, this is Arthur Avalon, Sir Arthur Avalon. He was one of the first person to bring Tantra into the West and break it down. He was the first to start translating Sanskrit into European languages, German and English. And so he came trying to explain it to us and did a wonderful job, because if we would read these, we would have deciphered the Bible, deciphered everything, because these is the books that make up the Bible. All these books is the true stories that you're going to find in the Bible. They come out of Sanskrit writing with just different names. So I just wanted you to understand what's going on. Let me see if I could pull up some of this real quick to give you an idea of it. See, this right here is a mandala of chakra. Let me make this a little bigger. As you can see, mandala of Samvara is given by this guy named the 11th century in this name as follows: 5 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 8 equals 61 deities, 61 entities, 61 gods, or 37 deities of their couples in the Kaya. These are called chitta chakras are counted as one, these numbers. So you would look at, this is one chakra. Look at this one chakra as one phonon of light. Just one phonon, not the whole light particle, one of them. This is what you're looking at. You ever look at a particle of light like this on your ring? Take a shiny ring and let it glitter off. Put it close to your face. Let me see. Where's my camera? Damn, I can't do this because then it's going to throw everything off. But I would have showed y'all. You would take your camera, put it close to your face. I mean, your ring. And you would get a reflection of a snowflake in it. If you put it close enough, you could watch a snowflake. That's this. That's what that is. If you was to stare at that, that activates you. Just looking at that activates shit, your memory. But now, in it, what they're saying is, this is the... Remember I told you, when you drop the rock into the water, what you're going to see? This puddle right here. You see the puddle? You see the circle? In the circle, you see the target? This is the most universal symbol that's overlooked, that if you start looking, it's every fucking where in the world. It's in everything. It's one thing everything is made of. We just never paid attention to it. So, when you start to see this, you'll be number one. This is you. You see this now? I got the arms on it with the hands up. That's you. But you have all this blockages. These is you too. All of these blockages. These is God's. One. This is you. If you got to go to the east gate right here. East gate you got to go through. So you got to leave here, then go through all these gates and open these petals. And then come back. Then go to the west gate and open all these petals, then come back. Then go to the southeast or whatever it is. You got to do all of these with a different God blocking you, giving you his trials to go through. Now you see how everyone is capped off in between right here? This is where your consciousness is at. Some people consciousness is here and it's stuck in religion. Some people consciousness is here and it's stuck in some shit. Over here, stuck in something else. Stuck in here. You understand? Or stuck over here someplace, trying to get out. You're in here. You can't get past this gatekeeper. You're stuck here. You're capped off. You understand? Only way you got to do is pass up to 56, then out. You get out. Once you're out of this, you're free. But this is the way out, through here, the center. This now, when you take a look at this, you're looking down. Google right now, top view. Let me see if we could do that. Top view of a DNA. Let me see. If you was to actually go and look into your DNA, let me show you something. Let's get a new screen. Let's get up Google. Everybody like Google. Fuck Google. I hate Google. Google be stealing your security, man. And we're going to put in top view. Of DNA. Voila. What do you see? Is this not the same image? See? Same image. Same circles. This is what you're looking at. This, you're right there in the center. Right there. Don't let these people twist you. You're right there in the center, like how we was looking at it in the picture. Right here in the center. This is called a mandala chakra. Right? And this is called your DNA, looking at it from a top view. Look at your DNA top view here. Same thing. Listen to me when I talk to you. I'm taking y'all to the next level. We're going to beat them to the punch. But you got to follow what I'm saying. Take me serious. I'm dead serious. Now, within This now, you have this going on. You see subatomic worlds? All of this is worlds. This is infinite right here. This is infinite alone. This is infinite alone. This is infinite. Look how much of infinite you got going on down to go down here. But you don't go in it and last infinitely. If you notice, they crisscross. Once you take your sphere, this sphere is probably going to be over here somewhere, floating around. So you took it and you brought it over here. Once you make them touch, see where they touch at? That's reality. Life comes into existence once these two touch. You always see them. Right in here is the pussy. Excuse me, is the vagina, I mean. The Vesica Pisces is the in between space between two chakras. That's where life begins. Right in just between the space. And as you can see the different cycles, this is your macabre, one part of it. This is what you're talking about. When I tell you it's like mirrors, this will be the mirrors. Every side of this is your realities, your different possibilities. This is one cube out of a dodecahedron, which is way more complicated than this. This will be one out of this. Put it like this. This thing is just this little part right here, over here in this corner, right here, this little side. So all of it would be made up of that. And now you got this inside itself here, and here, and here. So it's a whole bunch of these make up one that look like the Star of David. You understand? So once you understand that this is an inner journey that is a hologram when you using mind to travel through it. Okay, let's get back to the book. So, like I was showing you, now inside your DNA you have all these deities. As you can see, these is your Devis, which was going to give you your genius. So you want to tap into them. And now you see here, it's telling you all the different circles. When you're talking about the ring, Lords of the Rings, what do you think they're talking about when they say Lord of the Rings? They're talking about Lord of this, man. Of this thing right here. This is the rings. This is the wheel of Ezekiel. You see the Sumerians showing you this. This is what they show you. This is everything. This is power. Well, and like I said, rings. The ring right here is called a chakra. Circles, chakra. Right here after the three planes or circles of the chakra of the Chitta, Vaka, and Kaya, each circle has 8 Yeburim, 16 deities in the 8 cardinal and immediate directions. The Padra of every deity has her own specific name. So this right here give you mostly all the names of the deities if you want to know them, where they at. But this is Sanskrit version, so they would name what they see in their language. It doesn't mean it's concurrent with what your language is going to do, even though it's the same being, you understand? But different people have different gods. I just want to bring that to your enlightenment. Alright, so now this is a great book right here. I'm about to put you on, Illumination. This is going to explain to you about the mind. Now, Alberto Veldado is a shaman, a master shaman and a PhD doctor. So in it, he breaks down a lot for us as far as initiation as illumination. Remember, we talk about this initiation thing, but you see, you don't need a group or organization to initiate you. Initiation meant to introduce yourself, your astral self to your soul. And when you do that, it gives you illumination. You understand? These two work together. The hunter and the hunted, taming the prehistoric brain. See, this is our problem, why we can't ascend. The prehistoric brain has control over us. The archetypal death and the great awakening. So you're going to go through the archetypal. Remember I showed you how he's stepping on the two beings? That's your archetypal death. And with that death taking place, the great awakening is that being that's holding there up. That's what you want, the great awakening. You become a warrior now, a warrior god. The stages of initiation is the same for everybody, just like in the movie The Matrix. That's what they show you, the stages. The 7 demons and the 7 angels. You have that in you. This is a book on illumination. Look what he says, the 7 demons, the 7 angels. How many days of the week is there? And how many times the 7 goes into 28, the cycle of a woman? Okay, keep that in mind. Vanquishing the demons of youth, vanquishing the demons of maturity, the initiation of youth, the initiation of maturity, the shaman's gift, building personal power. So you got to learn that there is more going on inside of yourself than to look at the external world, because that's how they doing it. They're using the external world so you won't focus up on the real journey that you have to take, which is the journey of self-healing, to release yourself from your emotions. Let's look at what he has to say about this with emotions as I, give you a little bit of this. No, leave it big. He says, initiations offer us the opportunity to heal our emotions. All the drama and suffering in our life is brought about by our unhealed emotions, give, which give rise to our belief about how the world works. The shaman understands that whatever beliefs you hold about the nature of reality, the universe will prove you right. You understand? And that's what I try to tell y'all. Whatever you think and believe is what they're going to show you. As you can see up to here, whatever belief you hold about the nature of reality, the universe will prove you right. Now here go the thing. If you venture into the woods of an evening walking with an unease feeling, you will hear the branches snap anonymously nearby. If you believe that every relationship you enter will end in disaster, it probably will. And if you've conceived that you will never succeed at work, you won't. Consecutive positive beliefs helps us to see the glass is always half full. If we believe you deserve to be happy, happiness will find you even in trying circumstances. If you believe the woods are safe and beautiful, so they will be. Well, this is just a beginning little path into understand us, ourselves. And the truth is, when you learn these truths about yourself, this is the knowledge of knowing thyself, your limitations, what your own self is. By you learning yourself, you learn everybody else in the world. Nobody is different from nobody, but we just don't know. We never took the time out to know oneself, so we wouldn't know other people, but we know other people through ourselves. All right. I wanted to read a little bit about the brain part real quick. This is all great stuff, like I said, it's breaking down. So I'm going to take it from this. I like the primitive brain thing. I listened to it, and I really believe that this is what we need to hear, So it says the primitive brain. When you fail to complete one of your initiations, one of the 7 deadly emotions begin to stir in primitive regions of your brain. I'm going to read that again. When you fail to complete one of your initiations, how you know you're in this initiation? You be like, yo, Enki, how do I know if I'm in initiation? I will tell you, one of the 7 deadly emotions begins to stir in your brain. You feel emotional? You feeling anxiety? You feeling something? You missed out. You failed one of your initiations. Ooh. So it says, for example, lust arise and your mind then wraps a melodramatic story around this emotions. So you're here now. It says, for example, lust arise. So I'm going to use ice cream. Damn, I want some ice cream. But you're not going to say that. You're going to be like, yo, my stomach is bothering me, and only some ice cream will make my stomach feel better, so I'm going to go get some ice cream. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. All right. For example, lust arises in your mind, then wraps a melodramatic story around this emotion, breathing substance into and causing it to take on a life of its own. To understand the role of emotion, it's useful to distinguish them from feelings. When someone cuts in front of you on the highway, you get upset at the driver. Your spontaneous reaction of anger is feeling that passes because your nervous system reacts itself. Neurobiologists at Duke University Medical Center had discovered molecular reset switches that allow neurons in the brain to adapt and remove from the changes in the environment. Feelings are authentic, but contrast emotions are like viruses infecting our primitive neurocomputer. If you're still angry days or years after an upsetting incident, what you're experiencing isn't a feeling but an emotion stored in a neural network. You're rationalization this emotion and you come to believe, for example, that your spiteful behavior towards your boss is justified and feel you have a right to be angry and wrathful, destructive and deliberating as they can be. Our emotions once served as an important survival purpose in prehistoric times. And this is important for you to understand. Like I said, our emotions served important survival purposes in prehistoric times. That's where emotions come from. They don't come from today, they came from your past life. And it says, prehistoric times, survival often required behaviors such as taking from a neighbor, betraying a friend, and hoarding food. The Swayi tribe in Indonesia valued treachery and betrayal as one of the most admired deeds you could accomplish, and even had a notion of fattening with friends persons whom they would prepare to eat in a cannibalistic feast. When Christian missionaries arrived in the 1950s and brought with them the stories of Passion of the Christ, they found that the villagers was completely bored by the narratives until the part about Judas, at which potentially they all paid rapt attention. Today, our archaic emotions are no longer helpful in every religious teachings that we must resist them. Christianity instructs us to practice temperance or self-control. When someone strikes us, we should turn the other cheek, not seek revenge. And we must love not only our neighbor but our enemies too. Islam teaches control of anger, aggression, and quarrelism. Buddhism teaches calls of compassion and loving kindness. Hinduism explores non-violence and peace. Yet history has shown that these wise teachings have done little to restrain humanity's brutish instincts. They did not prevent the brutal crusades waged against the non-Christian, the Nazi Axis effects to exterminate the Jews, and the violence between Muslims and the Hindus and the Israelites and the Arabs, and to torture the enemy combatants by soldiers from the armies of the so-called civilized world. Well, this goes on into better stuff, and it teaches you about your emotions, which is what it's telling you. All emotions are viral programs running in the subconscious recess of our brain, and every emotions create suffering from ourselves and pain for others. Feelings are new, fresh, and of the moment. Emotions are old, tired, and programmed into our neural network in the archaic brain. We believe that we cry because we're sad, or lash out because we're angry. But in reality, these emotions arise from the depths and grab hold of us. We're sad because we cry. We're afraid because we flee. And we're angry because we strike. The belief that we cry because we're sad arises because we're wrapped in sentimental false story around that emotions. Once we recognize emotions as viruses in our primitive neurocomputer, we can choose not to use them as our primitive response to disconcerting situations. Then we will cry when we are happy, when we are sad, or for no reason whatsoever. That's true. Because I see a lot of people who cry because they mad, and they still cry when they're happy. So what the fuck is the difference? You're still crying emotionally wise. So it got a good point. But that's a great book if you want to get into the mental part of the game and learn it. You understand? Um, Now, this right here will help you understand what's going on as far as how we was deceived. That's this sex star, the symbol sex and the stars, popular beliefs. This is a great book on how actually a lot of the stuff we believe is just the origin of the moon and the sun worship. Everything in reality is about that. And so you want to get a breakdown of how life is and everything was put into this sun and moon worship, you get everything you want out of this book right here. This is a debunker book on the ancient past. Let me give you an example. The beginning of sun and moon worship, early efforts to explain mysterious spectacles of the heaven, God with supernatural powers and all acts of natural attribute friendly or unfriendly gods, the sun worship in China, Japan. This guy here, he debunks everything. He goes and debunks everybody from the past, and I mean he executed with perfection. There's nothing in here that's not true. Let me go into it so you get a quick glimpse of what I'm saying. He debunks. He really debunks. Like, Babylon's sun god Shamash giving King Hammurabi the scroll of the laws. So basically he's showing you everything is related to the sun. Everything is the sun. And the different names for the sun, he's going to show them to you in the moon, including all the gods is the same. And like for instance, he start here showing you how this diagram showing why the moon has to make more than a complete revolution around the return to the same position relative to the sun and the earth. So he's showing you the 28-day cycle, 2 days out of it, the moon disappears so they could realign back with the beginning of the earth at the equator. So it's like there's extra days. I could read it up here. And there's also what's called a dragon month. Nobody know what a dragon month is. A dragon month is measured in the time the moon crosses the sun's orbit and reaches the node until it again crosses the sun's orbit, which meanwhile has retrogressed toward the west 2 hours and 38 minutes. Because of this retrogression of nodes, eclipses are repeated in the same order in 18 years, 10 days, and 18 years, 10 or 11 days. This 18-year period is called a Soros. George Soros, you remember the guy who did Black Lives Matter and called all the goddamn problem in the world? You know his name is fake, right? So let me show you with the gods, because this book debunks a lot of stuff. I found this a very informative book. Let me show you. Alright. The Weeping Mother. She is mistress of magic and admiration for law order, who exhausts judgment and discussion. Throughout history, she appears as a merciful, compassionate friend of man. The weeping mother who intercedes in his behalf with the wrathful God. Paradoxically, she is also the bringer of hatred, strife, and storm, and the goddess who causes the heavens to tremble and the earth to shake. The entry of the Semites into Babylon, according to such an early period that is impossible to determine indefinitely whence they came, what deities they brought with them, or the exact character of the Sumerian religion at that time. But it appears that the South Arabic Ashtar, goddess of the planet Venus, was identified with the Sumerian virgin goddess Venus, Ninsanani, or Inanni, and subsequently became a female deity in Babylon and Assyria under the name of Ishtar. You hear all that? Just to describe Ishtar. In later texts, Ishtar sometimes appear as Zappaint or Sarpaint. Sarpaint. Serpent. Ishtar is serpent. Here she is right here. Illustration: the life shows a primitive mother goddess from early Assyrian sculptures. The figure on the right is that of the early Babylonian sculptures of Ishtar. Look at this. You see this? That's why we got to realize this a game been played on us. Who do you see here? Isn't this Isis and Horus? Jesus and Mary? Come on, family, wake up. Wake up. There's something else going on. If I read on, it's going to continue. Let me just say, in very early myths, Ishtar is represented as the daughter of Enlil, or Bel. So you know Enlil is Bel, the earth god. She is sometimes portrayed as Davenka, the wife of Enki, Ea, and therefore the mother and sister as well as consort of Tammuz, which would be that in her arm. The baby is Tammuz, who was addressed in the ancient Akkadian hymn as Shepherd and Lord. This is your Jesus, the husband of Ishtar, Tammuz. This little baby is the husband of this woman. Queen of Heaven, she is often represented as the daughter of Anu. So Anu is her father, Enki her husband, Enlil her father, gave her birth. A myth speaks of Erech as the dwelling of Anu and Ishtar, the city of harlots or joy maidens, and Helu, whatever. Elsewhere, the moon god Sin is represented as having been the father of both Ishtar and Shamash and the sun. In astrology, the character of Ishtar is ruled over the force of generation and assigned to the planet Venus, but this usage does not seem to have passed into the popular religion. In the hymn, she is called the glad-eyed goddess of desire. Sometimes she is called herself a loving consort and a temple harlot. In this respect, she is portrayed as a nude woman with prominent perineum or lifting her robe to disclose her charm. Before I go longer, you know what this is? This right here is the moon. This is not a person. This is a symbology for the moon that was called Ishtar, another name for the moon. I'll show you that this is all about the moon, where that's his whole point to this. It's just about either the sun or the moon. That's what you're getting with a god. If it's a guy, it goes back to the sun. If it's a girl, it goes back to the moon, and he traces it all down in here and show you how every goddess and goddess is either the sun or the moon. And so this is their story. So he shows you this. Even what we call Allah is really a goddess that came out a long time ago called Alat. Goddess Alat, passing through the underworld in her sacred bark from a bronze plaque. Same as Ra on his sacred boat going through the underworld. So in this one here, you get to make great connections to different stories from different religions, as it gives you a play upon all religions to show you how they're all connected to one deity, which is about the sun and the moon. As you can see, it's the same picture now. Left, you have Krishna being nursed by Devaki, a Hindu version of the Virgin Mother. Right, Ishtar with child, and the Syrian representation of the Virgin Mother. And then if you write underneath that, Horus with Isis, that's the Egyptian version of the same story. And it goes on through many religions and on, because it's the sun. Here it is again now, an Aztec conception of the Virgin Mother from a temple of Yucatan. The Egyptian conception of the Virgin Mother, Isis nursing her infant. So you see, it's the same symbol. So this cannot mean all of these people did the same thing. But what it can mean is all of them tapped into the universal consciousness and saw these symbols. And so everybody drew it all over the world. As it was symbolic. It wasn't a physical story. It's our sun and our moon. And he continues till you get the picture. You'll be like, okay, I get the picture of what you're saying. You're right. So that's what this sex symbols and the stars is all about. He did an excellent job, if you ask me, in breaking it all down. You know. Now, for those who wanted to know about the sun, about to end this in a few too. We're going to continue with these books. Now I got this up, Living on Sunlight. This is about the guy who the government actually investigated, and he actually did not use no type of food to sustain himself. They stood with him, and he just lived off of the sun. His name is Rata. What is it? It's coming up. Hold on. I don't want to try to speculate when it's on the cover. Hira Ratan Mantek. You see his name here? Taught by Hira Ratan Manek. HRM they call him. So this is his official book, The Man That Did It. And I'm going to post all these, like I said, and it teach you how to live off of the sunlight. Living on sunlight. The art and science of sun gazing taught by him. So, this is a wonderful book so you can start clearing out your energy blockages. It also make you have enough light to see inside yourself so you could take yourself into the next level. So he give you the sun gazing history, and of course, it always goes back to Egypt. You understand? And the sun worship of Ra. And that's why the Ra came out as Rockefeller and Rothschild, because they control who sees the sun and not. Why you think they got y'all in the house? Y'all can't see the sun. It's giving off too much energy. So anyways, sun gazing in this process, safe sun gazing practice, the months, how to go about it. It gives you all the directions you need so you could do it monthly by yourself with all the instruction. How sun gaze, sun gazing instructions. It gives you everything. So I'm going to post this up for y'all so that you could get it. It's a good book to have and to keep for even the kids could use it so they'll learn what their ancestors was doing. Alright, so on that note, I could keep going on with books. Look at these. There's books here for days. It goes on and on and on. So I give you books, and I'll keep giving you books. As a matter of fact, we're going to teach out of books. You understand? Now, if this work and this live go down good, I'm going to run it back and play it. I could go in depth to give y'all more detailed stuff, including shit like this one here, the molecular biology and vision of life, because this is how the scheme went down for them to actually map out our genetic code. And they've been mapping out our genetic code for a long time. As you can see in this one right here, hold on. Let's speed this up. Table of contents, show it. Alright. Molecular biology, a new biology. Rockefeller Foundation, knowledge and cultural hermeneutics. Caltech engineering and census. Molecular vision of life. Social control, Rockefeller Foundation agenda in human sciences. Salvation through experts, taming the savage, that's us, through mind control, toward a new science of man, technological frontier. See, all of these is the games that was perpetrated on us. But the thing about this that made this interesting, right, that this was during the 1930s. Y'all think the 50s? No, look when this was taking place. During the 1930s, a new biology came into being that the late 1950s was to endow scientists with unprecedented power over life. These 3 decades culminate in the elucidation of self-replicating mechanism of DNA. They already mapped out the DNA from 1930s. Self-replicating mechanism of DNA and the explanation of its action in terms of information, coding, representation that laid the congenital foundation for genetic engineering in the 1930s. Scientists should now manipulate genes on the most fundamental level and attempt to control the course of biology and social evolution. Is that not what we're experiencing today? Social evolution that lay claim to the secret of life. The new biology, which became known as molecular biology, emerged as a dominant discrepancy trend. Its molecular version of light promised to function as the Oscar's razor, paring down the convoluted explanations offered by traditional biofields. This new science did not just evolve by natural selection or random distributed discrepancy variance, nor did it ascend slowly through the compelling powers of its ideas and its leaders. Rather, the rise of new biological and expressionist synthetic cooperative efforts of American scientific establishment, scientists and their patrons, to direct the study of animated phenomena along selected path towards a shared vision of science society. So this is showing you how they've already been perpetrated on us, and our DNA was under attack from 1938. Look at Warren Weaver, the director of what? The Rockefeller Foundation National Science Division, the term which intended to capture the essence of Foundation program, its emphasis on the ultimate minuteness of biological entities. You hear that? However, if it by molecular biology one means the program censored by the Rockefeller Foundation, this definition will include many practitioners of life science, example biophysicists and immunochemistry, not typically associated with the term. Current parlance tends to equate molecular biology with DNA, molecular and genetics as definition that would exclude most of the research in life science during the 1930s and 1940s. So all this was taking place in genetic manipulation of our DNA a long time ago. I tell you further than this because I explained colonization was when they did the actual genetic manipulation. But this now is when they said that they decoded all our the genome. No, they been did this a long time ago, but they didn't tell everybody. So you think from 1938 till now, they're talking about DNA, that what they was doing? No, they been did it. To come to complicate matters further, it appears that some scientists who would never have identified themselves as a molecular biologist was retroactively, in light of high status of molecular biology during the 1960s, are too eager to reconstruct their careers as part of the molecular success story. Others, especially biologists, resist the sweeping of their parent disciplines into the whirlpool of hybridization. This is very important to understand. This is who we became after colonization. It wasn't colonization. It was hybridization. This word right here. Because I tell you, a lot of the things fall under what's called the laws of hybridity. So for you to understand this, you will have to understand there's a whole race of people that's called hybrids here. Well, if you're interested into this, this is what this will teach you about how Rockefeller funded a whole biological thing going on. You see, knowledge and cultural hegemony. Yo, y'all don't know, Rockefeller and them mapped out all the plants, every herb, every tree. They got the patents and mapped them out long before they even started doing this. So you said these two people mastered two fields, heteroculture and biology, the body and the trees. This is what this man put all this money into and took advantage of. In the future, I'm going to explain to you why. Right now, that should give you enough motivation to go on your own and do your own personal research. Well, I'm going to end this session now. We've been doing this for a quick minute. I'm going to have to get my rest in. But it's so much for us to look into, and we're going to keep doing it. I just wanted to let y'all get a little understanding of what's going on. And I really appreciate y'all taking the time out to spend with me. I know I'm kind of slow with talking because I like details. I'm not a quick person to just tell you anything. I try to give you the facts, show it to you so you have a greater understanding yourself so you could go and not only research but explain to other people with detail. So, like I said, I'm going to post these books. Thank y'all for tuning in and appreciate this. Appreciate it. One love. Oh, I ain't saying my ending. University of Conscious Science. One love.